Erin LaRosa, the greatest redhead you'll ever meet, unless you've met Julianne Moore, in which case I'm not.
And I'm Marcos Loevanos, illegitimate love child of Sally Field and Lou Diamond Phillips.
And this is
Just the Tip.
A podcast about love,
sex,
dating,
and masturbating.
And we're your hosts.
And we welcome you to our very special inaugural episode.
Today we're going to spend our 100% consensual time with you talking about virginity.
Also, later in the program, we will be chit and or chatting with Cooking Channel's classy ladies, Alie and Georgia Hardstark, who are currently in the process of making us alcoholic virgin-themed cocktails.
I very much like the sound of that. We'll talk to them in a minute, but first let's discuss the hard-hitting news of the week. Did Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez break up?
Hang on, Erin, are you telling me that the Britney and Justin of the new millennium are no longer an item? Because if that's what you're telling me, I'm gonna have to excuse myself to slit my wrists.
Well, get ready. Get the knife ready, okay? Because America's Sweethearts may be on the outs, and I'll give you the scoop here. So Justin and Selena have been dating for about a year and a half now, but last week this tweet surfaced on his Twitter page, and it said, and I quote, this is very scandalous, prepare yourself, "Thank you for the time I had with you, but I have to move on now, ... Now, what do you think that's about? Tell me.
That's, it's very...
Have to move on now.
It's very possible he could have been talking about...
A pizza.
Exactly.
Like, thank you for this slice, but it's not for me anymore.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, people thought it was about Selena. Okay, so, and they've been dating again for a year and a half. She's about to turn 20 in July. He's 18. They're definitely, like, full-on dating, boning time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Most
right?
definitely.
Right?
How could they not be?
I don't know. I mean, like, they didn't come out like Justin and that whore Britney Spears did and said, like, oh, we're gonna be virgins. But I think that their persona, because they're, like, Disney kids, is like, oh, we're not having sex.
But I think they're totally doing it. How could they not be?
Yeah, I mean, I assume, have I thought about it? Maybe. Have I considered what they might look like on my bed while I'm videotaping? Sure.
Have I written fan fiction about it? Maybe. Okay. What's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong. Please, God, don't let there be anything wrong with it.
Seriously, though, is there anything wrong with that? Is there, like, a law against that or something?
If there is, then everything we just said is a joke. Ha ha ha. We're kidding. But not to fear, because I know you were about to slit your wrist, but this apparently is a false rumor.
Okay. Thank you.
His rep said that allegedly this is a fake tweet. His account was hacked. The tweet has since been taken down and removed. So, Jelena, as their nickname is, which is a horrible nickname.
I like Celestin better.
Celestin. Anything is better than Jelena.
Yeah.
Well, they're madly in love still, so they're not virgins anymore. They're madly in love, and Selena Gomez is a cougar.
Obvious. Literally. I mean, she literally is a cougar because at one point in time when they were dating, she was older than him and he was under 18. If they had... So basically, what is a statutory situation?
Statutory rape.
Yeah.
So she's a rapist.
Basically, that's what...
I admire that.
What it comes down to. I admire that too. Feminism. Lady rapists. Okay. Let that happen.
Speaking of lady rapists, were you a lady rapist when you lost your virginity?
Contrary to how I talk, act, dress, and walk, I did not. I was not the aggressor in my. Well, you know what? I take that back. I kind of was in my initial maiden voyage.
Becoming a man.
Yes, I.
How old were you?
I was kind of a late bloomer. I was almost 21. I was.
Yeah, that's pretty late.
I was raised kind of religious, and so I was raised very religious. I take that back, and I had wanted to wait until I was at least in love with someone. I knew I wasn't gonna wait until marriage because, let's face it,
gays can't get.
I could be waiting till 2057.
Right.
But
you were out and everything.
I was out, yeah, definitely out. Have been out since I was 14, and but I just wanted to wait until I was in love with someone, so it would be a special thing the first time.
So 21. So you were at school, right?
I was in New York at NYU, and I was jogging on the street one day, and I almost got hit by a bus.
Wait, what do you mean you almost got hit by a bus?
I had my iPod on, and I didn't hear that there was a bus like coming near me, and like I just happened to turn and realized that this bus was literally like 5 feet away from me.
Oh
I
my
like
God.
jumped out of the way.
So you almost got hit.
Almost got hit. Totally, total near-death experience, and I saw my life flash before my eyes, and in it, there was no sex. So I felt like the last thing I wanted to do would be to die a virgin, to die never having had sex.
I had that fear as well.
So I made it my mission that night to go out and to find someone and to lose my V card. So
wow. Okay, so you like that same day you went out.
That same day, I got gorgeous, and I went out to the club, to the man club, and I found this guy who was a commander in the Israeli army who looked like Johnny Depp circa 21 Jump Street.
Wait.
I know.
So you saw him and you went up to him and you were like, "You're beautiful."
Basically, and we just started talking and we hit it off, and the language barrier helps, by the way, in hitting it off with
Can't really say much.
For me anyway, yes. So we.
But he understood.
He understood the international language of love, Aaron. So of lust, actually.
Right.
So we, I brought him back to my dorm room at NYU, signed him in. It was very romantic-like. And
wow.
My roommate was out of town, thank goodness, and we...
so you had the bunk bed to yourself.
I had the bunk beds to myself. And we just ended up doing it a few times over the course of an evening. And
A few times.
Yeah, it was nice. I even though I was a virgin, I had hooked up and done some other things with guys before, so I knew my way around.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous of you. So you're saying, like, you had sex with an Adonis a few times for your virgin, and then
yes.
did you talk again? Like, do you see him?
We did not. No, a few weeks later he went back to Israel and had to go back to the army. So he was just kind of on leave for this brief period of time, visiting family. And
God sent him to you.
Yeah, it was like a really bad romance novel, which was
except kind
great.
of awesome.
Except kind of great.
Wow.
So yeah, so it was fun.
God.
Was your first time as magical, Aaron?
Well, I didn't have any Israeli commanders of the army in my first time. I was a little more Selena and Justin. So I was 18. And I was still in high school and living at home, and I had been dating my high school boyfriend all through high school, and up until that point, we had not done it, and we hadn't really talked about doing it, but he had been playing this game called Just the Tip, which is much like our podcast.
Very nice.
Yeah.
How do you win at How do you win at that game?
I'll tell you how you win at Just the Tip game. I'll just start from the beginning. We went out for a very romantic dinner of Mexican food, which... Okay. So...
Could you have maybe eaten, like 3 double-doubles or something? Like, what?
I didn't know. Had I known that I was becoming a woman later that night, I probably would have starved myself for weeks and done, a cleanse.
That's what I do. That's what I do now. I have to know I need a week's advance notice so I can cleanse a week before.
And prepare yourself.
Yeah.
I was not prepared. So we go to dinner, we come back to my house, my parents are downstairs, incredibly romantic, and... We go up to my room and lock the door, and we start playing Just the Tip. And a few plays into Just the Tip, and my boyfriend looks at me and says, should I keep going? And I just said, sure.
Might as well.
I mean... So magical already this evening. Yeah. Why not continue it? So for the next 2 or so minutes, we had a lot of glory and passion, and then it was done. And he kind of rolled over, and I was laying there, and I thought, like, well, what would make this even more special? And I went to my CD player, and I pressed play, and unfortunately for both of us, the song that came on was Boyz II Men, End of the Road.
Very nice. That's a
breakup song.
Wonderful.
So great. We just had our virginity. Let's play this breakup song.
Did you break up after that?
No.
Was it, no? Okay. well,
We
that's-
actually dated for another year after this. For some reason, he like didn't break up with me, but we ended up. I made him slow dance naked with me to the Boyz II Men song because I thought that was.
That would have been pretty hardcore if while you were slow dancing, you would have just been like, I want to break up.
Maybe I should have.
That would have been.
Maybe
that
I
would have-
should have.
That would have been pretty
Just
hilarious.
top off the amazing evening.
Exactly.
So yeah, mine was, not multiple times with a hot Israeli commander, but special nonetheless. Like,
If it makes you feel any better, every sexual experience I've had since then has paled in comparison. It's just all been downhill since
I mean,
then.
how do
so.
you go down? You can't go up.
No.
So you have to go down.
Basically.
Yeah, I haven't ever had a Johnny Depp lookalike, so maybe my peak is yet to come.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right about that.
On that note, where are our drinks?
So some words used to describe our very special guests include tangy, full-bodied, and yeasty.
Yeasty.
They're regular on-camera contributors for the cooking channel show Unique Sweets.
And they host the network's original web series, Classy Ladies, where they find out how specific cocktail ingredients are made. So you can thank them for helping add class to your drunken benders.
Please welcome Alie Ward and Georgia Hardstark.
Georgia!
Lovely to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for being here and making us a cocktail. Now, what are you making us?
Okay, we've never made this before. Let's put that straight out there.
Yeah. Oh.
Never. And
So
this
first time.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. And this comes from Allie's love of wine spritzers, Marcos.
Oh,
You
perfect.
know that Allie loves white wine spritzers.
As do I.
Right, and she's trying to legitimize them.
Yeah, I've made it a personal mission of mine to legitimize wine spritzers. I feel like they're they're refreshing, they're hydrating, they're effervescent. If you don't want a beer, you can drink a large volume of them, and they're somewhat dilute, and I feel like they have a stigma. So it's part of my mission to give them some credit.
She's gotten me aboard. So I drink beer and I've started drinking white wine spritzers, which
Wow.
is a testament. And white wine spritzers, as most people know, is white wine and seltzer water.
Yeah.
And on ice.
Don't put Sprite in it unless you
No.
live below the Mason-Dixon line, and then you can do whatever you want. And I'm over judging you.
So we have 4 glasses and we're putting white wine in them. We have ample ice, which is Allie's.
Yeah, you can't. George is kind of an ice Nazi.
I
Like
know.
she doesn't understand that. Like fill the glass with ice. She's like 2 cubes, and I'm like, what are you doing?
I don't know.
I love that it's spilling over. That you're just like there's just so much
So
ice.
much ice.
Feel free,
I
feel
don't-
free to
that
add
makes me
even more to
nervous.
mine.
No,
that
no.
makes me
Judge.
nervous.
I love it because the ice is gonna reduce in volume. So
So what we're gonna add to this.
not Sprite, not seltzer water.
This is the new big thing, and we're adding it.
We just decided it was a new big
I'm
thing.
pulling out a bottle of it, and you can't see it, but
Okay.
I'm gonna say what it is when I pull it out.
So excited.
Kombucha.
What?
Oh.
We're making you white wine kombucha
What?
spritzers because
Yeah.
we
Oh
live
my
in Los
God.
Angeles.
Yeah.
We're all women and a
Wow.
gay man, and we can do that if we want.
And it's basically a wine cooler.
It's
So,
essentially a wine cooler.
yeah.
But it's
Marcos
healthy.
just started foaming at the mouth.
I love
Yeah.
that.
It's a healthy wine cooler. If you are hungover, this is the drink for you. I feel like.
Wow.
That's brilliant.
This is amazing.
It's refreshing. It's probiotic.
Mhm.
It's alcoholic.
Wow.
This is gonna go everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
Did you just
Okay.
shake this?
And lightly because there's some stuff at the bottom.
There's
That's
some
they
living
say.
yeasts at the bottom.
Yeasty.
They say not to shake
Yeah.
the bottle, but you have to because
You
there's
have to
stuff,
give it a
there's
nice
stuff at the
little-
bottom.
You do.
Yeah.
Got it.
Nice.
So we're just
Perfect.
using, this is a berry flavored, it's passion berry bliss. You guys are gonna get blissed out. It's gonna be so
Wow.
exciting.
Perfect.
So yeah, we've never made this before. This
so
would look
honored.
better if you muddled berries and put a mint leaf, but I don't give a fuck, it's Sunday. And
That's
Or
right.
you
I
can
love
put.
it.
We're
You can-
classy here.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a beautiful color. It looks so
Isn't it, right?
like almost like a greyhound, but
Yeah.
it's very pretty.
It has a pink blush to it,
It's
Marcos.
like grapefruit.
It's like you.
I like it.
Here you go.
So,
Okay, we're gonna
cheers.
try
Thank you so
this.
much.
I didn't stir it.
That's all right.
Who needs
Oh,
it?
That's
well.
fine.
Stir it with
Who
your own
needs
mouth.
it?
Cheers to this.
Stir it with your own mouth. Cheers.
Stir it in your
So let's see what
Thank
this
you so
tastes
much.
like.
That's delicious.
That works?
That's really
That
good.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
Totally works.
Mhm.
So
I don't
refreshing.
even. I feel like I don't even taste the wine actually.
That's
Yeah.
the point.
It's like a fruit.
No, it's
this is
really good.
fantastic.
It's really refreshing.
I
I
like it.
love it.
So kombucha, ice, wine. You heard it here
That's so
first, you
simple.
guys.
What kind of white wine? Any specific kind?
I like to use a nice cheap wine.
Mm.
No, I'm using some bullshit from Trader Joe's that I think was like it's a dry wine. A dry
Okay.
wine works well with it.
Yeah.
Nice.
But that's the beauty of pouring fermented punch into whatever you're drinking. Is it's
Yeah.
gonna taste delicious.
Yeah.
And what was the
This is
first
really good.
cocktail you guys made together?
That was the McNuggetini.
Oh.
And it was a joke that we wrote on a bar napkin. We created it on a bar napkin. And
Yeah.
it just.
It was a farce.
Yeah.
It started out as an idea that was never to be, and then because I would work late nights, Marcos and I worked together in the LA Times building for this like little paper, and this little paper.
No big deal.
Puny little
LA
paper.
Times.
And we would, I would be there forever working on this database that would constantly like chew up my articles and shit them out with ampersands everywhere. So I was there forever, and so Georgia would be like, "Let's get a drink after work," and I'm like, "Great!" Like midnight, what's open? Like the Roost, like a dive bar. But I wouldn't have had dinner, so I always wanted like a drink and dinner and dessert in one.
So
Yeah.
we crafted this cocktail, and it like took like a month to really like flesh itself out.
Mhm.
And we made up the name, McNuggetini. It was like this joke between the two of us.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I could use a McNuggetini.
Yeah,
right
like that. And so finally we made it, and it was ridiculous. And then we asked our friend Peter Tencio to make a video of us making it, like a how-to video.
No, like again, like a farce. Like
Yeah.
it was a satire of kind of like cocktail culture.
Right.
Like, and we just wore our best dresses. Our best dresses both happen to be vintage because we've always vintage shot because we're poor.
Yeah.
Weird, and so we did that, and then it just went viral. People were like, "Who are these girls in Mad Men attire?"
Well,
And we had no. I've never even
Nugget.
seen Mad Men, and so it kind of took off. And then the Food Network took notice, and they asked us to do more videos. They're like, "Can you make drinks that don't have barbecue sauce in them?" And we're like, "Sure."
We can try.
No, we
Yeah.
can't.
Try.
And
Sorry.
I had bartended before I was a writer, and Georgia had worked at restaurants, and I loved beverages, so we just read up a lot about, mixology and spirits, and kind of taught ourselves a lot about it. So,
Nice.
and that's our job.
Yeah.
Weird.
How did you guys meet? How did you fall in love?
Wow.
It's a good story.
We had mutual friends, a lot of them, and I was moving back down to Los Angeles from San Francisco. I left a relationship.
Can I cut to the chase? Georgia was peeing in a bush when I met her.
Outside of my bar. I was in my mid-early 20s, you do stuff like that then. So yeah, I was peeing in a bush, and then my friend was like, "Oh, hey, there's Georgia." And I was like, "Hey, I'm Georgia."
Yeah, and I was like, I like her. She seems no fuss.
Yeah.
And so, and I was always like, oh, it's such a bummer that cool girl lives up in San Francisco. And then one day she MySpaced me, so it was like in 2007.
MySpace.
Adorable.
She's like, I broke up with my boyfriend, I'm moving back down there. Here's my number if you want to hang out. I was like, oh, she's cool. She wants to hang out with me. That's weird. And then we went on like a friend date, and it was a disaster.
But then we've been best friends ever
Yeah.
since.
We went to I was a vegetarian and I don't drink beer, and she took me to like a sausage beer garden.
And she's like
Aw.
allergic to the sun. We were like sitting outside, like all things that I love.
The entire time.
So you tried to kill her.
I tried to kill
You
her.
basically-
Yeah.
I was just fidgeting uncomfortably, and I think she thought I was being too cool, but I was like, no, I'm
And she actually ordered a wine spritzer at a beer garden, and they like almost hit her over the head with a beer. It was
Yeah, they almost
Cheers
gassed
to
me.
that.
yeah.
Wow. Speaking of really high, what did you lose your alcohol virginity to? Do you remember your first
Ooh.
drink?
Total thing. Yeah, my mom bought me a 4-pack of Zima
Mm.
when I was in junior high. I guess I asked her for it, and she was okay with
Any
it.
specific flavor?
It was just straight up Zima then.
It only comes in white people playing flag football flavor, according to the commercial. I actually, when I was a freshman in high school, my mom put a Zima in my lunch, which
Ooh.
begs the question of like, why was my mom making me a lunch when I was like 13?
Yeah.
But I remember being like, Mom, this is alcohol. Like my uncle left it after a barbecue, and she was like, it is?
Oh my god.
And I gave it back like a knob. I could have sold it like behind the cafeteria, but I didn't drink at all. I didn't drink until I was moved out of the house in college. I was like 19 or 20. And I was like a good kid in the Latin club, and I was like, that can ruin your future. So I was like, I didn't. And then I lived in this house with a bunch of guys. I was like the only girl. And they always would try to get me to drink. I was like, I don't drink, guys.
Mm.
And I would clean their bongs for them, but I wouldn't smoke out of them. I'd be like, need some help with that? And so, but I was like pretty straight edge. But one day I was like, you guys, I'm gonna drink something.
Oh my
And everyone's like, oh shit, Allie's gonna get loaded. And I was like, I'm so scared. And so I drank shots of root beer schnapps while watching. I think I may have been watching The Crow on DVD,
Oh my
on
god.
like DVD or like VHS
Probably
probably.
VHS.
Yeah.
One of the sexiest films ever made.
Oh, he had those tight pants and he was so dead. And
No throwing up for you.
No, I think it's a self-limiting beverage because it's so disgusting. Like you
Right.
get into a diabetic coma before you pass out. Like you pass out of just straight up insulin
God.
shock.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have a question that I think Marcos and I have anxiously been awaiting, and that is, since you're like, cocktail drink experts, is there a drink that is good to use for seducing the men folks?
Yes.
I like a good roof-and-all gimlet.
Oh,
It's really, really good.
Crush muddle of the room.
Yeah, muddle Klonopin in the bottom of a glass. You know what I drink is, and over the summer, I kind of got much more into bourbon, and one of the reasons why, this is mortifying, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but I mean, I've always loved like old fashions and Sazeracs, but I got more into bourbon, and so I started liking stirred drinks, like ones that are almost purely alcohol, but over a big cube of ice and a nice like rind of citrus, like a manly sipping drink. And I was watching Crazy Stupid Love, which was a terrible, terrible movie.
It is.
So bad in so many ways, but Ryan Gosling makes old fashions in that like a pro. Like I think they probably use a hand model who's like an actual bartender. But the way that he uses bitters and the big ice cube, I was like, that man knows how to make an old fashioned. And I started drinking more of them after that.
Oh.
Mortified that was kind of the reason. But I really like a nice like bourbon with a little bit of bitters, a little bit of sweet, and like a nice citrus. Like, and I think that's a good drink to drink in front of someone because you can sip it slowly, but it's very strong.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that was the part of the movie that you took away. Like, you know he's shirtless in like 50% of the movie. You do know that, right?
I know that I saw.
You probably blacked out like me during that part.
Oh
and
my
just
God.
woke up.
I was
later.
just staring at his hand. I was like, look at that tumbler. Hand, cute ice.
Peel
Anyway.
that rind.
So that's my sexy drink. What's yours?
I like a guy who drinks beer. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I like a
Manly.
manly drink. And I feel like when you drink a beer too, you're like giving them a signal that you're not a frilly bullshit person.
Yeah.
You know?
No.
You can be taken anywhere, I feel like.
I feel when I make out with a guy who has been drinking beer, I'm like,
Love it.
I'm like, it's to me, it's like, you taste like daddy. So I don't want it. And then if I'm drinking a beer, it's like I can lock eyes with him and sip at a beer, and then later I'm like, I'm gonna be so fucking bloated. You don't even want to touch me.
My dad was a recovering alcoholic as a child, so he never smelled like beer.
Really? my dad drank Coors and watched basketball. So it's like
Okay.
you smell like after dinner dad. If you really just want to have sex with them, just get them on Long Island.
Okay.
Because they will be
Wasted.
they will
Incapacitated.
incapacitated,
Yeah,
exactly.
totally.
I really like a penicillin, which is a Scotch drink, because
I
Scotch
love
is.
Scotch. Tell
I
me
love
more.
Scotch.
Yeah.
Scotch is a kind of whiskey, but you're not usually supposed to mix it. It's usually like a single malt or a mix, but it should be had neat. But I really like Scotch cocktails because they're whiskey-ish, but they have a little bit of smoke. They have some peat. They have a little bit of iodine, and penicillin has ginger, lemon, and Scotch and some simple syrup, and so it's sweet, but it's still smoky and manly, and it's really, really great. Because it's so odd. So that gives you something to talk about. And then you could be like, here's some penicillin for the disease I'm going to give you.
Oh, God.
I think if a guy said that to me, I would be like, it's odd.
Yes.
Let's
Done.
go.
Just kidding. I hope no one ever.
That's just,
The guys that give you the diseases are never the ones that bring you soup anyway.
they're
So.
not. They're not.
Do people ask you guys to make them drinks? Like, if you're on a date with a guy and they know, like, this is your job to be, like, drink experts, do they say to you, make me a drink?
People ask us to make them drinks a lot, and it is nerve-wracking. Like,
You mean, like, when we asked you to make
Yeah,
drinks today?
no. This is so different. Like, when you're, like, at a party, and there's, like, the Costco-sized bottles of, like, vodka, and, like shitty vodka, and, like, and then, like, half-empty, like, plastic things of soda, and they're like, make me a drink. You're the drink you're the cocktail girl.
Yeah.
And that never ends well.
I know. If I have dinner parties sometimes, because I have, like, just like an okay apartment where I'm like, I'll come roast a bird. You guys are both welcome over, and I'll start making cocktails. And the first round, I'll be really nervous on because if we have never made it for people before, you're thinking they're going to judge you, and by the second round, usually everyone's happy enough where they don't really care what you're being served. But I actually talked to a girlfriend of mine today that came to a dinner party, and she was still talking about the sage honey drink that we made. And I was like, oh. Sometimes it's nice to be useful.
Yeah.
I don't know. We went to the desert last weekend, and I was like, I'm just going to throw a bunch of champagne and stuff and make a punch. Make a party punch. Who cares?
That was a great punch.
It was that party got really stupid really fast.
That party did.
I can't believe someone had sex in the hot tub.
What?
Someone did have sex in the hot tub.
You're kidding.
No joke. Someone had.
Ew.
Someone showgirl.
Like, you could watch them?
Someone showgirls
Shut up.
the hot tub.
Like in front of people?
It was, I think, late at night.
Oh,
But it
how did
definitely-
you find out?
But it definitely happened. Well, I think one person was out late at night, like,
Ew.
and they just heard a lot of splashing, so they went to investigate.
Oh, no.
And they were like, the people who were in the hot tub were like, "Don't come over here."
Does it
Oh
make
my
me
God.
does it make me really old that I'm like, you could get so many diseases?
think that just makes you a cautious person, which I think is
Yeah.
fine.
Because that sounds gross.
Yeah.
You won't end up like Know Me and
Right.
Showgirls.
Exactly. And
You'll be
who wants
okay.
to- I mean, I want to end up like her in other ways. But not
Right.
like that.
It
Right.
just sounds so cheesy.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, when in the art of seduction, all is fair in love.
Is it?
No. Georgia has a fiance, so Georgia is not like.
Stephanie.
No.
We don't.
No.
And I'm single, so I don't do that stuff either.
Speaking about seduction, should we have them positioning?
Yes. We.
This is a surprise,
Oh my
guys.
Yeah,
God.
so
Right.
toward the end of each one of these podcasts, we're basically trying to come up with, funny new sex
Positions.
positions.
Ooh.
So basically, you guys come up with a name,
Oh.
Okay.
and
Love it.
we have to come up with
what the move
actually
I
is.
have one that I've always had in my head that I think we should try. Can I tell it to you?
Okay.
Is that good? Can we do that?
Yeah, I like it.
Or is there? Okay.
They're
Alright, you guys
thinking.
ready? Because I've actually had this.
Are
in
you
mind.
ready, Marcus?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm all
I'm
set.
ready too.
Yeah.
I'm set.
Here's my. Okay.
Okay, we got two. So the first
I think
one.
we'll do hers first.
Okay.
Okay.
Mine is the Colin Powell.
Colin Powell.
The Colin
Marcos.
Powell. Okay, I think I'll take this one. Okay.
This is a PG rated.
So I
podcast, right?
think this would have to but the Powell in his last name Powell just reminds me of like punching. So I would have to say it would be like a donkey punch, but for the butt. So it would be like so it would be like a Colin Powell would be like
Like
when
you're banging them
when
in
you
the vagina.
Yeah, and you're like
and then you punch
you're
them in
getting
the butt.
Is it
when,
okay?
well, whatever. When you're banging them wherever, and you're getting close to climaxing, you just punch them in the ass.
In the ass or on the ass?
I think
See, that's the
I
difference.
think, I would say on the ass.
On the ass.
I think on the ass in
That's
general.
just
Ouch.
No, I
In the
like
ass
how
area.
that's like.
Ouch.
And-
Did you just punch my
It's
ass?
it's like a spank, but a punch. So
Okay.
that's what I would call the Colin
Actually,
Powell.
doesn't that happen in what's it called? Showgirls.
She gets
During
a
the
punch in
rape
the
scene,
butt.
she punches. He gets punched in the butt.
I don't think I
That
know
was like the
I
only
don't
thing I
think I
took
know
away from
that.
that movie.
I blacked out that part.
That's pretty
Did
funny.
she just get punched in the butt? Alie, what's yours?
Well, now mine is. I don't know about
No,
mine.
it's. Let's do this,
Well-
girl. Let's get it.
It was. I think I went with military, but it was an honorable discharge. Well, there's an honorable discharge, which I feel would be like a vanilla version of a dishonorable discharge.
So this is the dishonorable.
Let's do the honorable.
Let's do the honorable
You want to do
discharge.
the honorable
Like in a
discharge?
honeymoon setting, you would probably
Okay.
do the honorable discharge.
Okay. So I'm gonna go with this. So honor. Okay. So I'm thinking missionary. Okay. Traditional American like apple pie missionary. Okay. Then I'm thinking the guy is on top. Right? And before he comes, he makes the girl salute
Oh.
I like that.
and salute.
Yeah.
And also, I'm just gonna add like cup his balls a little bit.
Oh.
And then he says, "You're honorably discharged."
And then
he
where
he
does
just
he
yells
come?
it,
Okay.
and he comes on her in the shape of an American flag.
Yeah.
I never thought I liked a man in a uniform.
Now you do.
Maybe.
There you
Like
go.
a
If they
UPS
do this.
uniform or postal, whatever.
Yeah.
Hot dog on a stick.
Yeah, sexy.
It's been a
I
while.
love corn dogs.
I like that we paired off by hair color on this one. I
Oh,
like that too.
yeah.
Yeah, actually,
That's nice.
redheads
That was
stick
fun.
together, brunettes
That's
true.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, thank you so much for
These cocktails are delicious. I'm
yeah,
gonna
these
finish this and
cocktails
make you
are
make me
great.
another
You're
one.
gonna
so.
have another one.
Thank you so much for coming by.
So where
Thank
can we
you.
find you? Where can
Yeah.
listeners find you?
We are on cookingchanneltv.com. You can look up Classy Ladies with Alie and Georgia, or just Classy Ladies. We're at Alie and Georgia, ALIE, on Twitter, and we're on Tumblr, and we're on Facebook, and we're
Yeah.
on TV, and
Add us on Twitter and ask us dumb questions because
Yeah.
you never know which one of us is answering it.
yeah, it's fun.
So
That's awesome. Do you guys ever drunk tweet, drunk Facebook at all? Or that's a favorite thing of mine.
sure do.
So.
Sometimes we drunk podcast, actually, and
Oh,
that
really?
gets ugly.
Great.
I feel like I'm getting there right now.
Yeah, I feel like that's happening. to me.
I'm glad you're enjoying the
These are-
kombucha.
Yeah.
We need a
These are
name for it,
delicious.
so we'll think on that.
Oh you guys need to come up with
Just
something.
the tip.
Can you come up
Can
with
we
something?
name it
Maybe,
just the tip?
maybe that.
Come on my bucha.
Kombucha
Yeah.
the tip.
Kombucha the tip.
Thanks
Think about it.
having us.
Yeah,
guys.
thanks
Thank
again.
you for being
Thanks
on,
so
and
much.
you can find us at justthetippodcast.tumblr.com.
Until next month, I'm Marcos Loevanos,
And I'm Erin LaRosa.
sending you Joe Manganiello kisses.
And Ryan Gosling dreams.
Yeah.
Yay!